She had just gotten married about 5 months ago, and life was going well for this 30-year-old councilwoman, Eunice Dwumfour of Sayreville, New Jersey, in the United States. But little did she know that her days were actually numbered, because fast forward on the 3rd of February, just after she had gotten married less than 5 months ago, little did she know that it was also going to be time for her funeral and memorial service. That is how bad things can quickly turn around. Today's true crime story is a very emotional one for me because it involves a Ghanaian. And if you don't know, I'm also a Ghanaian, and it's quite emotional, the circumstances under which the beautiful young life of this beautiful soul was cut short by a gunman who is yet to be actually identified and apprehended by authorities in the United States of America. This is going to look at the true crime story of how Councilwoman Eunice Dwumfour of Sayreville, New Jersey, in the United States, was gunned down with multiple shots in her SUV vehicle. And I would also let you know that this is an ongoing case. No arrests have been made yet, no suspects have been named yet. So what I'm going to give to you will be purely based on the facts as put out by various news agencies following the issue closely. If you are ready for this ride, buckle up and let's go. Around 7:20 p.m. on this fateful day, Councilwoman Eunice Dwumfour, 30 years old, of Sayreville, New Jersey, was found shot dead in her vehicle. She had been shot multiple times and she just died on the scene. Now, Dwumfour was a Republican and she was elected to her first 3-year term in 2021 when she ousted a Democratic incumbent. Colleagues recalled her as a soft-spoken, devout Christian who could maintain her composure in contentious situations. She was that calm, she could always keep a level head. Now, she was a 30-year-old woman, and one of the people who knew her that closely indicated that to have this happen to her in such a tragic way was just heartbreaking to them. Now, authorities have not said whether they believe the motive for killing her might be personal, political, or just a random crazy act. Like I said in my introduction, this case is still ongoing and investigations are still ongoing. Now, in a 2021 campaign interview, Dwumfour described herself as a proud graduate of Newark Public Schools who earned a degree in women's studies at William Patterson University while working part-time as an EMT. She said she moved to Palin, a section of Sayreville, after graduating because of the tremendous public safety work the community does, and that this interest fueled her run for council, where she served as a liaison to the police department, now helping to investigate her death. That's so ironic. And I have a couple of theories in mind. I just want to keep them to myself for now whilst the investigations are going. I don't want to get ahead of anything that is ongoing because I believe that the police department are very competent to solve these crimes. Now, she just wanted to make a better community for all our children. This was a remark that someone close to her said. Now, another sad aspect of the conversation is that Dwumfour actually has a school-going age child, and it's said that she's very active in church. So imagine how the child is going to take this. This child obviously will be wanting to see his mom, only to be told that, well, eventually the child will have to be told that his mom has died. As to how she died, I don't know how they'll manage that conversation. But we hear the saying that the good die young. And if ever you've heard that saying and you didn't understand it, this is an example. If you ever needed an example to corroborate that saying, I think this is one of the examples. I don't know who would want to hurt this person. I don't know her personally, but looking at the references coming about her, it doesn't leave much room to think that somebody would have a grudge against her to take her out like that. But then again, in this crazy world these days, you don't really need to offend somebody before they have a motive. Sometimes your mere existence is a problem for somebody. Or sometimes, like the police are saying, they don't yet know whether it's political or it's personal or it's just random. Now, she married a fellow member of her church called the Champions Royal Assembly, and they like I said in the introduction, they had a ceremony. I think they had the engagement in August, and then they had the wedding in November. So she was on the road, life was going on well, happily married, and you saw a clip of her dancing during her traditional wedding in my introduction. This is a lady you could see came from nothing and had charted a beautiful path for herself. And not just for herself, but you could see she puts in the work. She was actually doing the work for the community and making great and positive impact. So it still baffles me why somebody would have a reason to shoot her the way it played out. And this is not a one-shot thing or a two-gunshot thing. This is multiple shots. It's like, to me, it seems like this person really intended to have her dead and wanted to be sure. And to an extent, it feels it could be personal or it could be deep-seated hatred. Either way, nobody deserves to go out like that, more so a woman in that caliber. Now, according to her resume, it said that she worked for 6 years with a religious non-profit group called the Fire Congress Fellowship Incorporated, which was also based at Sayreville. And so you see that she basically was just into the charity of service, where she would always want to put herself out to be of help to people. Now, according to people close to her and neighbors, one of the neighbors said that she had parked her car and then she saw there were shell casings everywhere, and that Eunice's vehicle was still rolling down the street gradually. And at that point, they suspected something was wrong. It actually rolled down gradually until it hit some parked vehicles. When police arrived at the scene, they found Eunice slumped over to the steering wheel because she had died on the scene out of the multiple gunshots. Now, the Sayreville police then searched the wooded area between the complex and the Garden State Parkway, which abutted the neighborhood. There was at least one police dog with them combing the area, and officials also used a backhoe to lift heavy grates off drainage areas to search as well. They were going through these searches to see if they'll find any clues, most especially the gun used in the shooting or anything that might point them in the direction of a suspect. Now, several high-ranking state leaders, including Democratic Governor Phil Murphy, issued statements expressing their grief over her death. Now, another person, John Wisniewski, a former Democratic State Assembly member from Sayreville, had spoken to her at a few council meetings. Now, this was what he said. Almost always, her comments were about God, divine providence. She was a woman of faith. Now, Sayreville in itself is a borough of roughly 45,000 people, and it's about 30 miles south of Manhattan. At the scene on Thursday, another car in the parking lot had damage apparently sustained when Dwumfour's car struck it as it was rolling down the street. People were saying that the neighborhood was mostly a peaceful neighborhood and they never thought such a thing would happen there, more so to a councilwoman of her pedigree. Now, like I said, this story is still unfolding. She's dead. Her memorial has happened. It's rather unfortunate. May she rest in peace. But I pray her family finds the strength to move on. But more so, it doesn't end there. Justice needs to be served. I know the police are competent in this. I'm sure give about a week or two or maximum 3 suspects will start popping up and arrests will start being made, questions will start being asked, and eventually we are going to find a culprit. But it's so sad when you see a beautiful, promising life like this cut short. Over what? Well, we wait to see when the suspect is finally found and he or she states his reasons why. I have a strong feeling or suspicion that this could either be personal or political, but more so, my instincts tell me it's more likely to be personal than political. But hey, investigations are ongoing, so let's keep our fingers crossed as we wait for the findings from that investigations. But like I've always been saying, please keep an eye out. You never know what somebody is planning. Keep on praying. Although the good die young, it doesn't mean that they are not being protected by their prayers. The Christians would say, God knows best. Subscribe to the channel if you already haven't done so. Like and share this video and put us on post notifications so you know anytime we put out a new video. Thank you for staying with us. Catch you another time.